The moment the doors of the church swung open, every head turned except the bride's. She was frozen, eyes wide, breath shallow, because the man who had just walked in wasn't supposed to be there. A heavy-built biker with a steel gray beard, wearing a leather vest marked Hell's Angels, leaned in close to her as if he belonged in that moment. But he didn't. He shouldn't. And yet, the words he whispered would change everything. "You're in danger," he murmured, his voice low and urgent. "Pretend I'm your dad." For a split second, she couldn't even breathe. Then his hand tightened protectively on her shoulder, and the chaos about to unfold took shape in her mind, because she knew the one person who would never want him here was the man waiting for her at the altar. The bride, Maya, felt her knees weaken as the biker guided her slowly back up the aisle. People whispered. Cameras quietly clicked. Somewhere behind her, her groom stiffened. Maya felt it, even without turning, but this wasn't about embarrassment. It wasn't about drama, this was about survival. Chapter 1. Maya had never imagined her wedding morning would begin with a silent argument with her own reflection. She'd plastered on a smile for her bridesmaids, ignored the heaviness in her stomach, and whispered the same lie over and over: "It's just nerves. Every bride gets nervous." But her fear had a name: Ethan. He was charming, successful, adored by everyone, except the woman he planned to marry. Behind closed doors, he was unpredictable. Controlling. Maya had tried to leave once, just once, and he'd made sure she understood what a mistake that was. Afterward, he apologized with gifts, with tears, with promises she desperately wanted to believe, because she was tired of being alone in life. Still, her heart had never fully settled. Something inside her screamed that today wasn't her beginning, today was a trap. And then, moments before she walked down the aisle, she saw a man's shadow fall across the doorway. When she turned, the biker stood there, breathing hard as if he'd run through the entire town to reach her. "I promised your real father I'd look after you," he said, voice trembling with something raw. "He's gone now. But I'm here. And you need to come with me." She didn't know this man. She didn't know what promise he meant. But one thing was clear: he wasn't lying. Her groom, however, Ethan, had lied so beautifully she almost married him. As they moved slowly up the aisle, Ethan finally stepped forward. "Maya," he forced out with a smile so tight it could snap. "What's going on? Who is this man?" The biker didn't even hesitate. "I'm her father," he said, voice steady. "And the wedding is over." A stunned gasp swept through the church. Maya's pulse hammered. She didn't correct him. She couldn't, not when Ethan's face flickered with something dark and murderous for just a second. The kind of expression only she had ever seen. Ethan approached, each step echoing through the silent room. "Maya," his voice hardened, "come here. Right now." The biker shifted, placing himself between them like a wall of steel. "She's not going anywhere with you." And suddenly, Maya realized something she had been too scared to admit: someone finally was protecting her. Chapter 2. The biker guided her out the back door of the church as murmurs turned into chaos inside. Maya stumbled into the cool air, shaking. "Who are you?" she finally whispered. "My name's Ray," he said, steady but gentle. "Your dad and I served together. When he died, he made me swear, if you ever needed help, I'd find you. And today, Maya, you needed me." Her throat tightened. She had spent her whole life believing no one remembered her father anymore, not his laugh, not his heart, not the way he used to tell her she was strong even when she didn't feel it. And this man, this stranger, carried her father's love like armor. But there wasn't time for emotion. A car door slammed. Ethan's voice erupted from behind the church. "Maya. If you leave with him, I swear." Ray's hand tightened around her wrist, pulling her toward his bike. "Don't look back," he said. "Fear loves your attention. Don't give it any." They fled as Ethan stormed out, screaming her name into the empty road. For the first time in years, Maya wasn't the one panicking. Ethan was. The wind whipped her veil away as Ray's motorcycle roared to life. The road blurred under them as they sped away from everything she thought she needed to stay safe. After half an hour, Ray slowed near an abandoned rest stop. Maya climbed off the bike, trembling, not from fear now, but from release. "Why did you come today?" she whispered. "Your bridesmaid called your dad's old number," Ray said. "She said you looked terrified." "I traced the call. When I heard the name Ethan, his jaw clenched. Your father warned me about him years ago. Told me if that man ever got close to you, I had one job: get you out." Maya's breath hitched. She'd always wondered why her dad had been so protective of her dating choices. He must have known something she didn't. Something she was seeing now too clearly. Ray put a hand on her shoulder. "You're not weak," he said. "You were surviving. There's a difference. And today, you chose freedom." "Did I?" Her voice broke. He nodded. "You walked away. And that's the bravest thing I've ever seen." He didn't try to fix her. Didn't tell her everything would be magically okay. He just stood there, a stranger carrying a promise made long ago, giving her the one thing she'd been denied, a chance to breathe. In the days that followed, Maya filed a restraining order. She stayed with Ray's sister, a gentle woman who treated her not like a burden but like family. Every night, Maya replayed the moment Ethan lost control in front of everyone, the moment she finally realized that love should never require fear to survive. It hurt. Healing always does, but she wasn't alone anymore. Ray didn't try to replace her father. He didn't pretend to. He simply kept the promise that mattered. He stayed. Months later, at her father's grave, Maya stood between fresh flowers and sunlight, feeling something she hadn't felt in a long time. "Strength, Dad," she whispered. "I'm safe now." Ray stepped up beside her, hands in his pockets. "You think he'd be proud?" she asked. Ray smiled softly. "No doubt about it." Maya exhaled, letting the weight finally leave her shoulders. Sometimes the people who save us aren't the ones we expect. Sometimes they arrive wearing leather, carrying scars, and speaking truths we've been too afraid to face. And sometimes, they whisper a single sentence that becomes the first step to a new life. "You're in danger. Pretend I'm your dad." It was never a lie. It was a rescue. A rescue wrapped in a promise, delivered in the moment she needed it most.